Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with the Battle Report. So this is yet another practice game for Buckeye Battles, my Beastlords, and this time I'm facing a Dread Elf army. I played this opponent several games ago. He had the 3 Manticore list. He's trying something different out now. And I've entitled this game, The Dice Giveth. Maybe you'll figure out why later. So starting with deployment, on the right on the left he's got a unit of Dark Raiders, some crossbows, a big block of executioners, and in them he's got an Exalted Oracle. Um, uh, I know she has all the spells, and I think it's the race specific lore. He's got a divine altar, uh, a large unit of raptors, and he's got a general and a battle standard bearer in there. So the list is in the description. Uh, just the general has like +3 strength. I think he's strength 7. And so just being an elf, he's +1 to hit, high weapon skill, high initiative, all that kind of stuff. So he's got like a 2 up, 5 up, I think. The BSB is built defensively, 1 up rerollable. Um, yeah, kind of a tough nut to crack there. In the back, it looks like he has 5 of the old Shade models. He's actually proxying those for Harpies because he left the Harpy models at home. So 5 Harpies in front of him, some more crossbows, and some more Dark Raiders, and then a third unit of Dark Raiders over here. So my opponent deployed everything first. Presumably he wants to go first. I got to deploy in reaction. So my thinking was to start off over in this corner over here. What I'm thinking is that unit of Executioners and the unit of Raptors are both going to be really, really difficult for me to deal with. And probably the only chance I have of dealing with them is to take them on one at a time and combo charge them. So I figure that by starting way over here in the corner, I have a better chance of isolating his units, especially with that piece of impassable terrain that I could use to protect my flank. So that was the vague idea I had. So I've got my Gargoyles on the far right, Minotaurs, a raiding Chariot. I've got my unit of Longhorns, and all my characters are in there. I've got my Beastlord, my Battle Standard Bearer, my level 2 Lord Path of Shadow, and I also have my Centaur Chieftain in there, which ended up hurting me, which I think is kind of funny. Um, then I've got Gortach number 1, Gortach number 2, another Chariot, and a couple units of dogs. So my thinking here is the dogs, I just want, I'm not even going to Vanguard them up. I just want them in reserve to redirect when necessary, and there's no reason to throw them forward because they're just going to get shot at. So there's the unit. I have a lot of Centaurs in this unit as unit fillers, but the Centaur Chieftain is front rank, far left. And then I have these units ambushing. 2 units of 20 Wildhorns with throwing weapons and 10 Mongrel Raiders. I realized today, which is a day after the game was played, that I did not give the Mongrel Raiders the 10-point upgrade. So for all of my games so far, I've been either scouting or ambushing with them illegally. I just realized. So, not that they ever seem to do anything, but yeah, found out that was a mistake. So after Vanguard, it looks like this. And then Dread Elf turn 1, and boom, he's moving pretty quickly. His Executioners have the icon of the Relentless Company. His Raptors have the +1 movement banner. By the way, that piece of terrain in the top middle looks like a crater. We're using that whole base as a piece of water. We're saying it looks like a swamp, but it's, we rolled up for water. So overall, it looks like that. Close-up picture there. Let's see. A lot of his he doesn't have much shooting, so some long ball shooting he has. He kills a single dog. He picked on my Gargoyle unit with both units of Dark Raiders and didn't score a single wound. I don't know what the odds are, what he should have done, but he didn't do anything. I think it was his repeater crossbows open up on this unit and kill a couple, and nothing else of significance happens. Now I might have been wrong on the path of magic he took, because I know he cast a spell on my Longhorn unit, which basically turned all terrain into difficult terrain that you failed or 1 or 2, and so that means my opponent has the path of wilderness. I'm looking at his army list and it says a different path, but he was playing a different one in this game. Anywho, that's significant because he got that spell on my Longhorns, and I'm like, yeah, I don't care, go ahead. I don't plan on charging with him or marching with him right now. Meanwhile, both units of Longhorns came on the board, and I deployed them 10 by 2 at the side of the board. Moved this one at the side of the board, walked up, and I just want them to shoot at those executioners. Those guys are going to be so tough to beat in combat that any wounds I could do to them before combat will be helpful. I really wanted both units to shoot at him, but I really just couldn't figure out how to do it. So this unit came down here, and they're just going to shoot at the fast cav, and then his executioners can charge him, and in which case, great, you're welcome to have them. Or he can ignore him, and I may be able to shoot at him next turn, maybe. And meanwhile, over here, so I tried to charge his Raptor unit with my Gortach, and I failed the charge. And so then I moved units up to redirect. I may have even moved some of these in the magic phase. I just don't remember. But what I'm looking at here is, what can I flee with, and I don't want his knights getting the charge on my Gortach. If I get my Gortach to charge them, I think he has a chance of surviving. I probably put all of my attacks into his general, because his general is the only one that, as long as he doesn't get the charge, he's the only one I'm really worried about hurting me. And I don't think the general can't kill my Gortach in turn 1, and if I roll a 6 to wound, I have a chance of killing him. So anyway, there's that. The Centaur Chieftain marched out of the Wildhorn unit so he could launch a bolt thrower, which was dumb anyway, because now he could easily just get shot to death out here in the open. I don't know what I was just kind of playing around, I think. But anyway, he had to take a dangerous terrain test and he failed it because of that spell. So it ended up hurting me, having me in the unit. The Mongrel Raiders ambush off the side of the board over here, ambush on. After shooting, I do a whopping 3 wounds to the Executioners, but the Longhorns at the bottom do 4 wounds out of the 5 for the Dark Raiders, and he fails his panic test and runs away, so it's at least one minor threat, and it's gone. Mongrel Raiders open up a big can of whoop-ass and kill 3 of the 5 Dark Raiders. That's rolling significantly better than they should be rolling. And somehow, some way, 2 of these guys are dead. And I have no recollection, no clue how on earth that could have happened. Yeah, I don't know. A couple of them died. Alright, so we go to Dread Elf turn 2. So, yeah, overall it looks like that. It's hard to say all the different combinations that were possible. When he charged with his executioners into my dogs, I wanted to flee, but I was afraid that if I fled, then his knights could charge my chariot and kill it and overrun into my Gortach. So I had to stick with the dogs. And so that's gonna. But then he decided not to charge with his raptors. He's easily going to kill the dogs. He's going to overrun into the chariot, and then on my turn, I have the option of charging into him with my Gortach or just trying to get the heck away from him. Over here, his crossbows are trying to deal with this threat. They shoot, they kill just a couple of them. Over here, he lines up both units to shoot. He kills 1 Mongrel Raider. And these guys shoot and kill the Centaur Chieftain, because I don't know why. When I marched him, I didn't remember the dangerous terrain spell on him. But even then, having only 2 wounds, he's good chance he was going to get killed anyway. Just kind of a stupid move. After combat, the dogs are usually dead. Everybody passes their panic, and they overrun and hit the chariot. So Beastlord's turn 2. Overall, it looks like this. The Longhorns try to charge his Raptor unit. He wasn't. I think I needed a 9. And I'm like, you know what? If I fail it, I can always redirect with my Gargoyles, and not really that worried about it. If he charges the Gargoyles, I'm going to get the charge on him easily next turn. If he doesn't charge the Gargoyles, I'll just continue chaffing him up. So they failed the charge. But down here at the bottom, the Gortach goes in, and I decided to go ahead and charge the Wildhorns into the flank of this unit. Just because I know I'm going to give him 3 guys fighting that otherwise wouldn't, or at least one guy that in the 3rd rank could attack the chariot, but with 1 attack. But now he's going to get, and I think these guys have, they have the bonus on them from the Divine Altar to give them an extra attack. So I think they have 3 attacks each. So in hindsight, that probably wasn't smart to throw those Wildhorns in there because they're not going to do a whole lot of good. I was just thinking, hey, every attack I can get into these guys helps. So anyway, after combat, yeah, I mean the Chariot we knew was going to die. I was concerned about the Gortach dying, so I went ahead and put the I got the initiative buff on him. He put 4 of his attacks on the spellcaster because she has 3 wounds on her, and I'm thinking, well, I'm hitting on 3s, re-rolling to hit, or even 4s re-rolling to hit, whatever it is, and then wounding on 2s. So I thought I'd take a chance, put 4 on her, and I only did 2 wounds. Darn, I was so mad. Um, so you can see I did a fair amount of wounds to the unit. They won combat by enough that my Wildhorns broke, and then I'm feeling dumb because it didn't really help anything. My Gortach got to swing first. I didn't kill his mage. He swung back. He did 4 wounds to me, and of course because I did I had higher initiative, I didn't have a chance on this go round to get any wounds back. So next time around, I'll get to swing first, hopefully regain some wounds before these guys have a chance to kill me. They do have a few less attacks, but yeah, still scary. All right, we go to Dread Elves turn 3. His Raptor unit with his General and BSB, they decide just to back up. Like I said, if they charge the Gargoyles, then I get an easy charge on him. If they stay still, I'm a few inches closer than I was, so they back up. Let's see what happened here. The Divine Altar was facing to the left, so it charged my fleeing unit of Wildhorns, which fled through my other unit and off the table, which caused a panic in my other unit, and they almost went off the table. They are just barely on. His Dark Raiders on the right charged just the 2-man unit, charged the flank of my Mongrels because he very rightly thought that it didn't take much to beat them in combat. And his other unit swooped around here to try to kill my spellcaster. I've taken... Yeah, no, this is after shooting. So he came around here and he shot at him. He only did 1 wound. Thank goodness. That guy's going to jump back in that combat unit here in just a second. And during the shooting phase, his crossbows shoot at my Gargoyles. And tell you what, being a skirmisher and being toughness 4 just really helps. So he wasn't able to get any wounds off there. Mongrels easily die, run off the table. And over here, I don't know if I could roll a 6 or not, but whatever it wasn't enough. And if you look at his units, I didn't kill anything. It was crazy bad. The Gortach just couldn't do anything to him. So we go to Beastlord's turn 3, and I'm like, well, yeah, so I try to charge again with my Longhorn unit. Again, they need a 9, and again, they failed. I charged the Gargoyles into his Harpies because I really like the idea of him not having shaft there. Yeah, there's that. I'm going to go back 1. The Chariot, I would have loved to have charged his crossbows, but he had the dangerous terrain spell up on him. I didn't want to take all those dangerous terrain tests because I would take 4 dice for charging and then another 4 dice for hitting the water. And I'm like, nope, that's just going to kill him. There's that. And then at the bottom, I put my Gortach right in front of his unit. Like, well, I'd rather you charge the Gortach than start sweeping around my lines. I still think the Gortach can handle that unit. It really just sometimes it depends on where he puts the benefit from his Divine Altar, because he can give either +1 attack or a 5 up ward save, and he has 2 main units that his army's built around. So we go to the magic phase. I throwed 3 dice at the Chariot of Mist on the Gortach, and I roll 2 6s, and then I roll a thing where everybody takes a hit, be strength 5, and it wounds and kills my spellcaster. So now both of us don't have a spellcaster. I was able to kill his on the last combat. The Gortach flies over this unit. Like at first I'm like, he had nowhere to go, so I put him right in front of him, and I was like, no, now he can fly over him, and I've got a bunch of threats against his general's unit. Gargoyles kill the Harpies to a Harpy, and turn around. And we go to Dread Elf turn 4. He says, screw it, and he charges his general's unit into my bunker unit. He swift reforms his executioners and slides them over so that my Gortach can't help anytime soon. And he does this crazy funky move with his repeater crossbows where he reforms in a single line and then shuffles over to redirect my Minotaurs. I thought that was pretty good. So there's this. I know he's just going to do a bunch of damage, but you know, I'm going to be steadfast, and then but then my Minotaurs, if my Minotaurs could countercharge on my very next turn, this would be fantastic. But because they can't, I don't know how long this unit's going to hold up. So he shoots my Chariot. My Chariot's only taken 1 wound. So we go to combat, and basically my opponent doesn't issue a challenge. And I know that his general is touching rank and file on my BSB, and I'm sure his general is going to attack my Battle Standard Bearer. And if he doesn't kill him, then his rank and file can target him as well. But his general's probably going to kill him anyway. So I said, screw it. I issue a challenge with my BSB. It's the best way to protect himself. He says yes with his general. He's got 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s. He does 5 wounds. I've got a 2-up armor save. He's strength 7. So 2-up goes to a 6-up, and I roll the dice. And I roll 4 6s out of 5. My opponent and I just both look up at each other like, are you kidding me? And then I swing back and don't do anything. And his Raptor wounds my BSB, and I make the armor save there. So my Battle Standard Bearer actually survives. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So in hindsight, had the dice been the same, I didn't have to issue the challenge, and his general probably would have allocated some attacks on him, but not many. I mean, if I were attacking somebody knowing I was sitting on 2, wounding on 2s, and he was saving on 6s, and I only needed 2 wounds, I don't know. I don't know if I'd do 5 wounds, 5 attacks on him. Anywho, he does a bunch of wounds to me. I do a couple wounds back, and it looks like that. So he wins by an absolute ton, but we've got the bodyguard. We're stubborn. We stick around. I've got very few bodies left. And my BSB is in a challenge with his general with 1 wound left. There's no way I'm surviving that. So we go to Beast Herd's turn 4. Gortach charges the Executioners. Bring it. He's getting revenge for his brother. My Gargoyles and the Chariot charge his crossbows, and I'm really confident I'm just going to tear them. I pass my restrained test with the Minotaurs, and I reform them as you see them, which actually wasn't a good reform. But what I was thinking of and what it did accomplish was his unit of fast cav on the right can't squeeze through my Minotaurs and the combat, and either combat, because they have to be able to go single file through and have at least a ½ inch on either side. Now that also assumes there's not going to be too many crossbows dead to block it on the other side. Anyway, so there's that. There's this. I need names for these guys. This guy, first of all, this might be one of my favorite pictures in a long time in this game. I think that's just awesome. Oh, awesome. After combat, are you kidding me? We go to the challenge. His general has 5 attacks. Or does he? He might have put the +1 attack on the Executioners. He has 4 or 5 attacks. He's hitting on 2s. He's wounding on 2s. I did get the Gnarled Hide totem up, so my BSB now has a 1-up armor save and is -1 to hit. And so he goes to hit. He's sitting on 3s, and I think he does like 2 hits. He's wounding on 2s. He wounds both times. I throw the dice. I've got 1 wound remaining. I roll a 5 and a 6, and my BSB turns around and puts a wound on the general. You can't make this stuff up. You can't. You've got to be kidding me. My opponent's just incredulous. Like, what do I have to do here? He kills all of the Longhorns except for 1, and that means I'm still steadfast. I'm still stubborn, and we stick. The dice gods giveth. And yeah, so the Gortach goes in, and now he is not playing around. He does 3 impact hits. My opponent does all those attacks on me, and he just totally fluffs it, especially his rolls to wound. He's wounded on a 4 and just fluffs them. He does 1 or 2 wounds. My guy's, he has 7 attacks. He unleashes back, re-rolling to hit, wounding on 2s. He rolls a couple 6s. He gets those wounds right back, crushes them. Then he does like 5 or 6 thunder stomps. He gets him down to 9 models or less, which means that he does not have a rank and is not steadfast, and it's an auto break because I just crushed him. And then he overran, and caught him. Oh, this guy is awesome. The problem is I can't charge into the combat that's really important because I'm in that unit's flank, and I can't get to the flank. The piece of impassable terrain is blocking it, so that kind of sucks. Meanwhile, up top, these guys suck. And I think in the hindsight, it might have been for the best. So the Chariot goes in there, it like does one impact hit. I don't even know if it wounded. You can see what I did. I mean, he pulled as many wounds off from the right as he could, but there still isn't enough room there for his cavalry to get through and redirect my Minotaurs. Thank goodness. So we go to Dread Elves turn 5. Not a whole lot going on. He's got his one important unit left. He's got his crossbows in combat, 2 tiny units of fast cav. He's got his Divine Altar, and he's got his crossbows on the left. But for the most part, not a lot going on. He shoots. He can't do anything. We go to combat. Okay. Okay. This is the third round. This is the third round of combat. We go to the challenge. His general finally kills my battle standard bearer, but he only does it. I don't think he either killed him with only 1 wound or maybe 1 extra wound. I think he just killed him 1 wound. Barely killed him. His knights kill my 1 remaining Longhorn, but it doesn't get him any extra combat res. They just get the 1 wound, right? My general, I don't know. He does what he does. We get down to the end of it. My opponent has wounds. He has a couple standards. He's beating me by 5. I'm leadership 9. That means I need a 4 or better, or I'm going to break. And now I'm mad at how I reformed the Minotaurs, because if I break and he pursues, it's going to be really easy for him to get out of line of sight of the Minotaurs. Where if I had angled the Minotaurs better, they'd have a better line of sight. Although arguably, if I angled him too much more, his fast cav would have been able to get around and redirected. So, whatever. Anyway, general needs a 4, and he rolls a 3 and sticks. Over here, now I think I'm going to lose this. Are you kidding me? These guys, they're just sticking around doing nothing. All right, whatever. We go to Beast Herds turn 5. The Gortach has nothing else to do. He could walk around and prepare to charge in the main combat, but I figure if the Minotaurs can't crush that, then there's nothing else. So he just charges the rear of the crossbows. Minotaurs are charging in to save the day, and it looks like that. So what happened here? So they charged in. Impact hits kill the last remaining rank and file guy, and then I think we're in a challenge with his general, something like that. They actually weren't able to bring their attacks to bear. Meanwhile, over here, yeah, the Gortach is certainly enough to do what needs to be done there. We go to Dread Elves turn 6. Yeah, I think it's the same thing here at the bottom. The Minotaurs are giving some combat res, but they're not really helping a whole lot otherwise. Yeah. Let's see. I'm showing there that his 1 remaining Dark Raider came by and shot my Gargoyle. Over here, the challenge finally ends. He kills my general. Now, finally, the Minotaurs can start swinging on the next time. Turn around. And this is where, to be quite honest, now I wish I had saved the Gortach and made him so he could help out with this combat. But you never know. My opponent may have been able to chaff him up. So we go to combat. My Minotaurs open up, and I divide my attacks evenly between his battle standard bearer and his general, because I think I'm just going to waste both of them. And the general has a 1-up, which converts to a 3-up. So he's got a 3-up, 5-up, and the BSB has a 1-up rerollable, so he has a 3-up, 3-up. And I've got to do 2 wounds to each because his general has a wound. Well, I kill the general, the BSB survives. I end up losing combat because the general does so many wounds to my Minotaurs that he breaks me. I run away. He doesn't catch me. So, yeah. And you know what's funny is we just ended it there without taking my last turn. So what I don't know is, did the Minotaurs rally? If they don't rally, this is a small loss. On a 20-0 scale, it's probably an 11-9. If they do rally, this is a draw. Either way, it's a fantastic, fantastic game. I'm not happy with how I played. I really felt like I'm actually getting less and less of a sense of how to deploy and maneuver this army. So I wasn't happy about this at all. I mean, I got so lucky in that challenge, so lucky in that main combat, that had those things not happened, I think this would have been a big win for the Dread Elves. So yeah, I can't claim any tactical prowess from this battle report. Um, but hopefully we learned from it and had fun anyway. Once bitten here. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.